you check the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Bienvenidos, Fright fans. Welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Jaime and Fuego, and so very stoked to be coming back at you with a little bit more Fantastic Fest coverage, which just wrapped up in Austin, Texas. But big thanks to Brad for getting us at the Horror Show, and myself for some coverage of the non-spooktacular variety on my solo channel in Fuegotainment Virtual Press, so that here in the deadly desert of Arizona we could cover this. And next up is a film that I just got the chance to finally watch last night after getting a screener for it. It is a film hailing from España, and it is entitled Disforia. So this is coming at us, just want to make sure I get the name properly, y'all, from director Kristopher Cartagena Gonzalez. And so this is a film that, from what I understand, that I was told by the publicity rep that I was in contact with, this is kind of a film in flux, at least a little bit. So there's still like planning some effects tinkering and whatnot. This is very much a festival cut that I got the chance to see, which means that as good as this movie was, and I was quite impressed with it, it's probably one of my favorites of the festival, it's in all likelihood only going to get better because, we always give overall thoughts and then story and, acting and, effects and production and, and things of that nature. But this film, now granted, it's another, the world is collapsing, almost like dystopian sort of vibe and whatnot, but we're seeing it as it's in the process of happening as opposed to in the aftermath like we've seen in other films this past year, like like a 40 Acres, or if you're going to get more into like the supernatural scientific genre sort of stuff, Last of Us or whatever. But this one takes place when we see Spain, and then also like Italy and France, which are both mentioned, is going into like states of emergency when you see like some television and hear news reports and whatnot. But it's another film of that ilk, but yet this takes it to a very small personal level and also factors in a technological aspect that I can't remember one of these movies actually incorporating, because of the fact that all too often it's one of those situations where we join up these people where everything has completely collapsed already, and so there's no internet, there's no, all this different stuff. Whereas in this movie, I guess this is kind of going to be both overall thoughts and then segueing very quickly into story. But yeah, I was very impressed with this from an acting standpoint, and I loved the essence of streaming that is incorporated into this film. My one real gripe is the fact that it's super, super short, and I wanted it to be longer. It clocks in like right around 80 minutes if you include the credits and stuff like that. I wanted to be in this world longer. I wanted to explore more of what's going on, because there's almost like subplots and details that are discussed briefly. And yet there's only so much time. So I'm hoping that maybe with some additional photography, if they shoot some more to this movie, they can just beef it up, because they have the groundwork for something seriously special in this from a acting standpoint and from just a more unique take on it. And so the story being, you've got this husband and wife and their daughter is a handful, man. She's going around with like this like gorilla kind of mask on, an ape or something. I thought I was watching that Monkey Man movie with I believe it was Dev Patel, maybe, where he's going around fighting, and it's that same kind of mask, man. And so she's in the back seat. The two parents, they're going to this like outside of their main city in Spain, and so they are going to this place, and yet you're getting all of these news reports that are giving some intrigue and insight about all of the different shortages that are happening, water and food, and there's rioting, and there's, all kinds of different supplies being hoarded by the more powerful, whether, government or, law enforcement or the rich or whatever it may be. But yet there's also this subplot of people having these like suicide pacts, and so they're like, we're gonna take the power back with these suicide support groups, and so they're like, that is how we can fight against the system, is by killing ourselves, which is just wild. And so but you get out to this place, and then you get some, because the internet is still going. It's just like the supplies, but the tech hasn't been destroyed as of yet. So there is internet accessibility, and there is stuff going on the dark web that basically ties in with a character that shows up at this family home. And this is non-spoiler, so once again, just to keep that in mind. But this is the character who really kind of brings the inciting incident and the craziness into this film, because this person streams like death and carnage and stuff like that, and you have all kinds of people donating tokens and all this different excuse me that's when you're talking so rapid fire, but talking all this different stuff. And so this character is what really sends the film into a frenzy and really just ups the stakes of how there are people in this like new version of Europe that are using the weak and the downtrodden and the susceptible in a lot of ways for their own personal carnage and amusement. And this person is like streaming it and like asking those who are viewing for suggestions about how to go about stuff. Should I go for this weapon or should I whatever? And segueing into acting, the performance from this person who shows up at the home is just infectious in its like lunacy and its nuance. I mean, there is just it's a really crazy dynamic, and the manner in which there's like playing up to the audience and everything, just the whole loose screw sort of thing that is so apparent and evident. Can't sing the praises there enough. But also the dynamic of this mother and her daughter, because of the fact that mom and daughter did not get along particularly well. This is a situation where you have a daddy's girl who basically turns off the rebelliousness, and she's pretty young. She's maybe like 8, 9, something like that, maybe a little younger, a little older, give or take. But yeah, she's kind of a little turd, and yet for dad she calms down and everything, and she wants him to read her the stories and everything. And so mom has a little bit of resentment, but when danger comes, that's where she goes into mama bear mode, and she really just elevates her intensity, and she rises to the occasion in the face of a escalatingly awful situation. So it's a very small cast though, and it is primarily a one location. And so segueing into production design and everything, it's really more so than anything as far as production and effects and stuff like that goes. As far as beefing up the effects, I mean, maybe the streaming could look a little slicker, but I mean, for me, for some sort of weird dark web sort of stuff, it looked convincing enough. And when we do get some gore as conflict is getting much more severe and serious at the home and then in the surrounding area and whatnot, all that stuff looks very convincing. There's a car accident bit that it's the aftermath is it's something. I'll tell you. So but yeah, I mean, doing a lot with a great location. It's got that sort of like grim eeriness of being isolated in the woods, away from civilization. Not only do you already have slow responding police officers to begin with because of all the chaos that's going on in the city, but I mean, you're also isolated from that. So as if the cops weren't already going to be slow to respond and assist you with anything, it's going to be even worse because of all the just, carnage and craziness that's going on within the city. So, I mean, it's well shot, and, lighting, and the fact that, there's electrical issues, and so they're using candles and all this other stuff to light up the home, this, like, kind of isolated remote home that they go to in the forest and stuff. And so, I mean, as a whole, I was greatly impressed with this, and I mean, the acting, the sort of nuance to the approach of what would happen if technology wasn't completely cut out of the picture as society is crumbling. Well, you would have the sickest, most vicious people with a lot more of an opportunity to try to... there's a really great line, yes, and I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. Crises are opportunities. That is mentioned by a character at one particular point. And I thought it was such a poignant sort of line, because that people would be trying to take advantage in this sort of situation, the most bloodthirsty and horrible people any way they could. So I extend the grande gracias, guys. That's my thoughts on Disforia at a fantastic fest. I've been Jaime and Fuego. Like, share, subscribe, all the business. And thanks to Brad for hooking us up, myself, Cecil, and the rest of the gang with virtual press for this. It was a blast. There's still a few more reviews left to go, but yeah, if you've seen this film, if you have any thoughts on it, comment. You guys know the drill. And yes, once again, a big thanks to our patrons as well. So I've been Fuego. Y'all have been spooktacular as always, and until next time, Freight fans, remember, stay scared.